Okay, so picture this. It's late, you're scrolling, endlessly scrolling. You know the feeling.
Uh-huh. Mindless.
Totally. But somehow, even with all this connection, you feel kind of disconnected, isolated even. It's this really weird thing about our digital age.
Yeah, the paradox of connection, right?
Yeah.
More ways to reach people, but maybe less actual
Hmm.
relating.
Exactly. And what's really interesting and what we're diving into today is how smart businesses are seeing this. They're not just noticing this like social gap.
They're seeing it as a massive opportunity.
Right, and they're building strategies around it. We're looking at a masterclass from business consultant Ari Masudi. He talks about something he calls community-driven entrepreneurship.
It's a really powerful concept, not just buzzwords.
No, not at all. So if you're out there maybe founding a startup or you're in marketing trying to cut through the noise, or maybe you're an investor looking for what's next, our goal here is to really unpack Masudi's secret sauce. How do you build a business that's not just about the transaction, but about genuine human connection? Because that apparently is where sustainable growth is headed.
It really is a fundamental shift. Masudi contrasts it so clearly with the old way of doing things.
The old playbook.
Yeah, which was basically make a product, find people who might buy it, then market at them.
Right. Like aiming a megaphone.
Exactly. And the big flaw Masudi points out is that it treats everyone as an individual buyer, a data point. There's no sense of belonging, no tribe.
It's kind of cold when you put it like that. Just transactional.
Very. So Masudi says, forget that, flip it.
Okay, how? Where do you start, if not with the product?
You start with a community, find a group of people with a shared interest, maybe a shared problem, a shared identity, and then you build your business, your product, your service around them. The product serves the community. It doesn't just get sold to individuals.
Okay, that changes everything. The product becomes like the campfire everyone gathers around.
That's a great way to put it. It's the catalyst for connection. And the example he uses, which makes this so clear, is Tough Mudder.
Ah, yeah. The crazy obstacle course race.
Right. You might think it's just about mud and obstacles, but how did it become this huge $100 million thing? It wasn't better marketing, necessarily.
Or just crazier obstacles.
Nope. Masudi says the secret was the Tough Mudder pledge. Remember that?
Vaguely. Something about helping each other.
Exactly. I will help my fellow mudders complete the course. And crucially, I will not whine.
Ah, okay.
This wasn't just words. It was, as Masudi calls it, community architecture. They designed the need for teamwork right into the experience. You literally couldn't finish some obstacles alone.
So they engineered mutual aid, built it in.
Precisely. It wasn't just encouraged, it was required. It created interdependence, shared struggle.
That's really smart. And it taps into something deep, right? Psychologically.
Totally. Masudi cites Harvard research showing people will pay up to 20% more for things that help them connect socially.
20%. Wow.
Yeah. Because we're wired for belonging. It's fundamental. Think Maslow's hierarchy. Right at the top, self-transcendence, being part of something bigger.
So you're not just buying a race entry, you're buying belonging, membership in the tribe.
Exactly. And that kind of connection creates loyalty that just selling a product alone can never achieve. It makes the business way more resilient.
Okay, so the value isn't just the product itself, it's the connection enabled by the product. How does that change how businesses actually create that value?
Well, this leads to what Masudi calls the co-creation economy. It flips the script again.
Okay.
Most businesses think they create the value, and customers just consume it.
Right. Yeah, seems obvious.
But in community-driven models, the connection value, the real sticky stuff, isn't just delivered by the company. It's co-created. It emerges from the interactions between the members.
Ah, so the community members are creating value for each other.
Yes, often in ways the company didn't even directly plan. Think about World of Warcraft guilds.
Okay, yeah. Gaming guilds.
Blizzard, the developer, they don't create the friendships, right? Or the late-night raid plans, or that feeling when you finally beat the boss together.
No, the players do all that.
Exactly. Blizzard creates the conditions, they build the playground, the framework. But the players build the relationships, the strategies, the shared stories.
They build the actual community experience.
Right. And the result for Blizzard, player lifetime value is apparently 4 times higher than average in the gaming industry.
4 times, just from enabling connection. That's incredible.
It shows the economic power of this co-creation. And Masudi makes another key distinction here between just sharing and mutual aid.
Okay, what's the difference there? Isn't sharing social?
It can be, But he argues sharing is often passive, like
Yeah.
posting a photo on Instagram. It's mostly one way.
Right, broadcasting.
Yeah. Mutual aid, though, is active. It's reciprocal. It's helping someone solve a problem in the forum, offering real support, working together on something.
Gotcha. It's interactive, helping each other succeed.
Precisely. And businesses that manage to facilitate that, genuine mutual aid, they build much stronger, stickier communities. People become invested in each other.
You can really see that play out when companies take something usually done alone and make it communal, like indoor cycling.
Oh, SoulCycle's the classic example Masudi uses.
Yeah.
Indoor cycling was around forever. Usually pretty solitary, right? Staring at a wall, maybe a screen.
Yeah, kind of boring sometimes.
But SoulCycle realized people wanted more than just a workout. They wanted energy, belonging,
So they turned it into a performance.
sort of. Synchronized riding, amazing music, instructors with huge followings.
Yeah.
They created this intense shared experience. Emotional contagion, they call it.
Where everyone feels the same vibes.
Exactly. And look at the result. They could charge premium prices, like $35 or more a class. And people were fanatically loyal. They weren't just customers, they were members of the tribe.
So Masudi actually gives a framework for how any business could potentially do this.
He does. It's pretty actionable. First, find the lonely activity in your space. What do people do alone that could be shared?
Okay. Identify the isolation.
Second, add synchronization. Shared timing, shared goals, maybe a shared rhythm. Get people doing something together at the same time.
Like the Peloton live classes.
Perfect example. Third, create interdependence. Make it so people actually need each other to succeed, like in Tough Mudder.
So it's not just being in the same place, it's relying on each other.
Right. And fourth, facilitate emotional sharing. Create moments for shared vulnerability or struggle or triumph. Let people connect on a human level.
Identify, synchronize, interdependence, emotion. That's quite a blueprint.
It really is. And Masudi argues this whole approach is becoming essential because of what he calls the social recession.
Right, you mentioned that earlier. The loneliness stats are pretty grim.
They really are. The U.S. Surgeon General saying loneliness is as bad for health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
That's staggering.
Seriously. And Gen Z feeling lonelier than older generations, even being hyper-connected.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, but the data suggests it's true. All that scrolling isn't necessarily leading to deep connection.
So for businesses, particularly startups or investors looking at trends,
This is huge. If you can genuinely solve for connection, you're not just selling a product, you're addressing a fundamental human need, maybe even a public health need.
which makes the potential value immense.
Absolutely. And the pandemic really amplified this, didn't it? Masudi talks about a shift from traditional social bonds, long-term, maybe geographically fixed, to social fluidity.
Meaning?
People still want connection, maybe more than ever, but they want it more flexibly, on their terms. Less long-term commitment, maybe?
Ah, okay. So we got used to connecting differently during lockdowns.
Right. And smart businesses are tapping into this by creating pop-up communities.
Pop-up communities like
Yes.
temporary tribes. Kinda, yeah. Think short. Intense masterclasses, 5-day challenges online, boot camps, even focused WhatsApp groups or Discord servers around a specific project or interest.
So intense connection, real value, but maybe not forever.
Exactly. It fits how people want to connect now. Deep, meaningful, but maybe not a lifelong commitment. Flexible belonging.
Which brings us to actually designing for this. Masudi says it's not accidental.
Definitely not. Good community businesses architect connection. It's intentional design.
Okay, what are the key design principles?
He highlights a few non-negotiables. One is shared struggle creates shared identity.
Like Tough Mudder again. Or CrossFit Ithity Wodes.
Exactly. Or
Sure.
coding boot camps. Going through something hard together creates an incredibly strong bond. You share an identity forged in that challenge.
Makes sense. What else?
Rituals and traditions. Think Apple's product launches. They're practically holidays for fans.
Or Starbucks' Red Cups every holiday season.
Right. Or Harley-Davidson rallies. These recurring events reinforce the community, the shared experience, the belonging.
Okay, struggle, rituals. What's the third?
Insider language and symbols. Little things that signal you're part of the group.
Like Nike's Just Do It.
Yeah, or Tesla owners having that little wave. Or CrossFitters talking about AM wraps and Fran. It creates in us a shared understanding, makes you feel like an insider.
So struggle, rituals, language. But the absolute key, Masudi warns, is integration.
Yes, the integration imperative. You can't just slap a forum onto your website and call it community.
Uh-oh. Guilty as charged, maybe.
Haha. Well, many companies try.
Mm.
But Masoe says community value has to be baked in from the start, woven into the product, the service, the whole experience.
Not bolted on later.
Exactly. He uses the example of Scion, Toyota's old youth brand. Remember this?
Yeah, they push car customization hard.
Right. They tried to build community around customization, but
Customization is all about being unique, individual.
precisely. It's the opposite of shared identity. They were trying to force community onto something inherently individualistic. It just didn't work. It backfired.
Which leads to the dark side when these community plays go wrong.
Big time. And the number one pitfall is the authenticity trap.
People can smell fakeness.
Instantly. Especially communities. They have a built-in radar for it.
Yeah.
Masoudi points to that disastrous Pepsi ad with Kendall Jenner.
Oh, God, yeah. Trying to co-opt social justice movements.
And it just blew up in their faces, utterly rejected. The lesson. You cannot fake this stuff. You have to genuinely create the conditions for community, not just pretend.
Don't try to manufacture it. Let it emerge.
Right. And another danger is what he calls the differentiation paradox.
Okay.
Businesses get obsessed with helping every customer feel unique, stand out, be different. But if you push that too hard...
You lose the common ground, the shared identity.
Exactly. You erode the very foundation of community. The best community brands focus on a shared identity. Helping people improve, yes, but within the group. Collective growth, not just individual spotlight.
That's a subtle but really important distinction, and none of this happens overnight, right?
Absolutely not. Masoudi stresses, time is your secret weapon. Building real community takes patience. Years, often, not months.
So investors need to understand this isn't a quick flip.
Definitely not. Look at Reddit. It took them, what, 18 years to get to that huge valuation?
18 years?
Yeah, because for a long, long time, their main focus was just facilitating connection between users, letting people find their niche, their tribe. The money followed the community, not the other way around.
Patience pays off, and when it really works, when the community feels real ownership.
That's the goal. Masoudi calls it the appropriation effect. It's when customers feel like the brand, the experience is partly theirs. They helped build it, they belong.
They become co-creators, not just consumers.
Exactly. And that makes them incredibly powerful advocates, your best marketers,
Right.
your best source of innovation. It's the ultimate win-win.
Wow. So wrapping this up, the big takeaway from Masudi seems to be connection isn't just a nice to have anymore.
No, it's fundamental. The businesses that will win in the next decade are the ones that understand this deep human need for belonging and build it into their core DNA.
So the challenge for everyone listening, founders, marketers, investors, is to ask those tough questions Masudi poses.
Yeah. Is what you're offering actually bringing people together or pushing them apart?
Are you just selling stuff, or are you enabling mutual aid, real support between people?
And are you truly building a community? Or
No.
just collecting email addresses?
Because, as Masudi says, in a world where AI can do almost anything, that genuine human connection, that's the one thing that's uniquely human, uniquely valuable. People don't just buy products anymore.
They buy belonging.
And belonging, well, that's priceless.